The Leila Show.
Beyond the New to the Leila Show, a culture cast where the power of conversation knows no bounds. Join us as we embark on thought-provoking conversations that explore the ever-evolving trends, untold histories, diverse cultures, and the ever-evolving and profound questions of existence with your host, me, Leila Ziari. Welcome back to another week, and this week we have our lovely guest, Nicola Tonsager.
Tonsager, yeah, thank you.
Yep, did it right, okay. And she works with soul signatures and energy, so welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Leila. Really great to be here and chatting to you and looking forward to whatever unfolds as we do start chatting.
Yes, me too. We never know. That's the fun of it. The fun of all of it. So yeah, tell us a bit more about what you do, soul signatures. I actually have never heard that particular term itself coined. Of course, okay. I do my own spiritual work with myself, mostly, not for the masses, but new word for me, so.
That's good, because actually they're my baby. So I have worked with energy and I've worked with spirituality for about 25 years. And soul signatures were something that were channeled to me about 4 years ago. And I started working with them significantly over kind of the past 3 years or so. And I work with women and business owners who want that deeper connection with themselves, you know, outside of the roles that we play within life sometimes, which we can all get lost in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and they support you to understand your soul energy, and they also support you to understand the soul energy behind your business as well. So they're quite a new way of working, and although they're energetic, they are practical and relatable as well.
I love that because, as a business person myself, I am having definitely, I'm struggling with the balance of, I'm a divine feminine goddess. I don't need to fucking work. And then, but then I'm also really independent and I need to work. And, this balance between myself, my business, and my, literally worship me on a pedestal while I sit by the water and bathe in the sunshine. But then, also, not being too overdriven with my work, because then I get in work mode and I just, take on way too much, masculine energy, oh, boss. And, the balance between those has always been, whew. So probably I'm someone who needs something like this.
Well, I think they help you understand yourself. And I think as women, particularly as independent women that run businesses, there's a tendency to do, isn't there? And we can get really caught up in that. But my work and my passion, I guess, is soul, because I believe that when we're soul led, we're really stepping into the fullness of who we are, and we start to shed the labels.
I agree.
And we start to shed the shoulds, which is a topic, if ever there was one.
Oh my God, we all work on that. I know I've been working on that for 30 years, shedding the shoulds. So work in progress, but yeah, definitely very important, because there really is no should. And like you said, it's all everything I was about to say should again. Everything. See, I was gonna say everything we should be doing is coming from the soul, but no shoulds, so yeah. I digress.
But I think it's hard actually in the world. I think it's the world. I don't know how you find it, but it seems to be getting busier. It seems to be getting faster, and there's a real push-pull between things moving really quickly, but having to slow down so you really connect into who you are, and you really find that truth within yourself as well.
Yeah, and I mean that's so important. Because I feel right now. I've just taken. I ran away into the sunset and just was I'm not doing life for 2 weeks. I'm just going to sit by a lake and literally just rest and recharge my soul batteries. Phenomenal. Love that. Need to do that. But I feel unless you create a life where you can do that, most people who are working, they genuinely, or own a business even, they just there's so much pressure on you to perform constantly. And like you said, it's getting faster. I'm still, every single day, I'm I can't believe how rapidly, all of this happened. And you don't even realize it because you're living in it. But every time I take the second to, look around, I'm it's seemingly overnight, which of course it wasn't. But it's just I was reconnecting last week with someone I haven't seen in 4 years. And I'm in the 4 years we haven't seen each other, what happened to the world? And 4 years isn't even that long. We're sitting there, just laughing and catching up,
I know The world changed dramatically. And the thing is that I don't think it's going to get any slower. I think we're in that fast pace of life. I think energy is moving more quickly. And we as women, but as individuals, have to really take a step back and really make a focused effort to be with ourselves, to be with our own energy, and to be really clear on what we want, rather than being caught up in the lane of doing what everyone else is doing, or what we think we should be doing, to be seen to be performing. I would totally agree with you on that. I think it's a really difficult balance to find.
It definitely is. So, you're here to help us. I'm here to do God knows what. I don't know what I'm really supposed to be doing for this humanity other than literally just showing up as myself in whatever facet that is, because the balance,
showing up as yourself from a soul perspective, I think, is our deepest purpose. I know we have loads of other purposes, but if all of us stripped away everything that we thought we should be, and we were just ourselves, so we were just showing up as ourselves, we were allowing ourselves to be ourselves, we'd have less envy, we'd have less disagreements, we'd have less confrontation, we'd have less competition. We would just be so much more ourselves and feel free to do that without any sense of missing out or losing out or being something different or having to be something different to who we really want to be. So I think showing up as you is a core element of all of our purposes, and is absolutely absolutely.
I'm gonna give myself a little pat on the back here, because whatever. That's I know that is what we all should be doing. But right now, I'm very consciously in this path of I'm just consciously doing less right now, and I'm just consciously if I get a call to literally get in my car tomorrow and go into the mountains, I'm going. I don't care. I don't feel like I owe anybody anything or any explanation. I'm just in the flow so hard right now. I'm I don't know if I'll ever get out of it, and I don't know if I want to, and I don't know if we're supposed to. But it is a little chaotic at times too. It's not because I'm at peace, but it's but then when you go look at okay, but am I still doing this? What do I have businesses left? Do I even care? Am I happy? Yes. But I don't know if that's sustainable because it's a little chaotic, but
I think we have to find a way that is sustainable for us within the chaos.
Right.
And it's really interesting that you use the word conscious, because for me, we have to start making more conscious choices, and that's conscious and being consciously aware of what we choose to do, and being consciously aware of what we don't choose to do, or we are not choosing to do, because it's really easy to get swept up in life, and suddenly before you know it, you're working on autopilot, and you're doing things from a subconscious pattern that is just on repeat within you. So that opportunity to be conscious and to be present creates flow, and I think that's also where we find that peace in the chaos. Mm-hmm. Because for me, we're always going to be going round in that spiral. We're always going to be learning something. We're always going to be unfolding something. But it's the ability to be at peace on some level within yourself, within that. And that creates that pathway through, even if it seems like a bit of a zigzag at the time.
Right. I think you're right, because I feel like I'm probably at the most peace I've ever been at in my life. But I was I don't know where I live anymore. I'm done. I surrender completely, which I've been trying to do for years, but I just feel in the last few weeks, I'm just no, I quit. I'm not controlling anything at this point. I got nothing. I'll show up when I feel like I'm supposed to show up. And until then, let it be, because does
that give you a sense of freedom though?
It does, and I've always been a very sovereign being, very I've traveled all my life. I've never stayed anywhere too long. When I do, I kind of get the itch. So it does, but I don't know. I always felt like I was missing something when I was doing that before, versus now I don't really feel like I'm missing anything. I'm just am I supposed to be doing anything? Because I don't really feel like it right now.
but being you and allowing yourself to be you is a big part of actually doing something, being something, isn't it?
I think it really is, and that's what what you're saying gets back to. It's because of the society we live in, it's instead of praising that mentality, like, of course, eventually we have to do things, sure. But, you know, it's like, that is like the weirdest thing to tell somebody in like this modern day society. Like, what do you mean? You're just going to like do nothing if you don't feel like doing nothing? Like, yeah, I truly am going to sit here and look at the water or do whatever until I feel like it's time to do something else.
But I think that's a part of really being present and a part of trusting yourself. And for most of us, or for most people, there is a lack of safety that we feel within ourselves if we're not doing something.
Right.
So that ability to say, actually, I'm going to step fully back and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. And I'm just going to allow myself to be in this place. That says that there's a strong element of safety and there's a strong element of security and belief within your own ability to create. And that's really powerful, because if women and men, but if we had that more in the world, again, we'd be more standing in our sovereign power. And you have mentioned your sovereignty, but we would be standing in our sovereign power a lot more fully, and in a way where the power emanates from you. So it's not forceful. It's not powerful as in directive, but it is just coming from the soul, from the core, from the essence of who you are.
Right. Which, I mean, that would literally change, shift the entire plane of the universe. If, you know, and I hope that's what I've been trying to learn literally my whole life, and I probably haven't got it yet, but I'm much closer and I feel much more grounded, because I don't think I ever truly trusted myself, and I know a lot of us have that problem. We'll be like, yeah, I'm awesome, I love myself, yeah, but like honestly we don't, to the extent that we need to or should. No should. See, it's so hard. It's just great.
It is hard, isn't it? It is hard.
It's like you don't even realize it till you realize it. Like, okay, but I mean, now I distracted myself. But yes, whatever I was saying, yes to all of that. But no, we don't trust ourselves as much as we think we do. And, you know, because there is that underlying fear, like, you know, there's always that, like, oh, I need someone for this, or like, because when you decide you trust yourself, that means like you're in charge and you're really giving yourself the reins. And it's almost like, I liked it a little bit to be like, okay, but someone will come in and help me with this, because it's just a lot of pressure to imagine that, like, yeah, no, I really create my own reality. All of this kind of is on me, and I'm really in charge here. Like, that's a lot of power, and it's a lot of responsibility.
It is, and it's radical responsibility, isn't it? It's radical responsibility for everything you are, for everything you create, for everything you're bringing into being, but it's also radical responsibility for the stuff that you're not bringing into being.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
And it's really accepting that, and it's about owning who we are and finding a way to understand that in a way that makes sense to us. I think that's some of the challenges that we have within the world, is spirituality. I don't know about you, but spirituality and soul have become such big buzzwords over the last 10 or 15 years.
No, it's a yikes.
What is it, and how do you find that within your life? But more importantly, how do you live it within your life as well?
Right.
And it's finding the truth of it for you in a way that works for you. And that's the mission, I suppose, for most of us. That's the purpose.
So. That's why we're all floating around here right now. I think I don't know anything. I will never claim to know anything, although I like to pretend I do sometimes. But I think you're right. I mean, that really is the mission, seeing how it works for you. But then you're also right. Spirituality is trendy. Like, now it is. I literally have a poem that's like, love and light becomes a trend. What the fuck am I supposed to believe in? Because, like, so there is that too. Like, you know, it's just an interesting time to navigate, because it really is all about the soul and the spiritual connection to yourself. But then again, there is all these, like, keywords, buzzwords, trending, like, not even false information, but just people, like, who really haven't, like, experienced some of the things, blabbing off at the mouth, like, giving great advice that's not so great, you know. So there's just a weird time to be alive in general. I mean,
it's I think there's a strange dynamic, and there's a strange kind of diversity within the world at the moment. And you've got the people that really don't believe in anything from an awakening, from a woo perspective, and then you've got the people that have been leading spirituality within their lives for years, and you've got the people that are jumping on the bandwagon at the moment as well. And I think if you're at the beginning stages and you're trying to navigate your way through what's real, what isn't real, how do you find your truth within it, then it's actually quite a challenging time. But finding your truth within everything is something that's really important for everyone. One of the mantras I use is that you're the journey. Life is not the journey. You're the journey.
I love that.
You unfolding to you. That's the journey you go on. Life is the vehicle for that journey, but it's you within that. That's the actual real journey. That's what you're here for. That's what everybody's here for, in some way, shape or form.
I agree. Yeah.
And allowing yourself to unpick the layers and really try and discover who you are at your core, or allow yourself to unfold, that brings you back to the heart of the journey that you're traveling on. And for me, that's the way you navigate what's right for you and what isn't quite right for you. And what's right for you may not be what everybody else is doing. It may not be
Usually not.
It's not about performing, but it's about finding what's right for you in the moment and trusting that, even when it makes no logical, practical, rational sense.
Right. I agree with that. And like you said, like I've actually like surprised, like I've been on this quote unquote spiritual journey for like long, like, most of my adult life. And then like, it got really trendy. And then I was like, you know what? I don't even want to be on this journey anymore. And I picked up my feet and I was like, I'm just going to go be successful and wealthy. And like, guess what? That didn't fucking work because that was not me. Like, that was not me, like doing my thing. So, then we had to uncondition ourselves from like leaving the path and like coming back. It's all about you and not, and but giving yourself permission to like explore all those avenues. Like you have to go on whatever path you're guided on, I feel like, in the moment, because there's something to be learned to come back to yourself even fuller every single time. So that comes back to like, again, trusting yourself and trusting the journey, which can get really hard when you don't like fully believe in yourself and you're doing something you don't even believe in and you're like off in this tangent and you're on insanity. And then, how do you trust yourself in that? But
sometimes that is the only way we do, isn't it? We hear, and you will have done as well, there are loads of stories of people who for some reason have got to that rock bottom stage in their life and they don't have anything to lose. They don't have anything more to lose. Right. So that is the point at which they really surrender to who they are and they actually take a step forward that they never would have done if they hadn't got to that point. Hopefully.
I think that's accurate, yeah.
Hopefully we learn the lesson and we try and be open and we try and surrender before that.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah. But it's sometimes we're so conditioned and we're so restricted, and we don't feel we can break free of the things that we feel are constraining us. And, I'm sure lots of people, I do, that are living what seems to be a really successful life, but are not feeling that success or not feeling that fulfillment.
No, and it's like, it's crazy and it's sad and it's like, oh my God, like, do you even know like what you have right now? And it's like, and then they're asking me like, Leila, do you feel things? Like, are these emotions? Like, what does this mean? And I'm like, wait, but like looking at your life, like I would have thought you had that figured out because like look at what you're manifesting for yourself. Like it's fucking awesome and it's cool. And you're like, some of these people are like literally like light workers without knowing it, like making, like creating these beautiful works of art or music that are helping so many people, but they're sitting there inside like, I don't understand it. And I'm like, wow, like you got it though. You already got it. You just don't, you're not tapping into the self part of yourself that like literally everyone else on the planet sees.
Yeah. And it's the realization within ourselves, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And until we hit that point, we don't take a dive. We don't deviate from what appears to be the normal route. We don't deviate from the straight road. That has to be something that catalyzes us and moves us, to look at things slightly differently and to be curious about, ourselves, actually.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is. It's always like a cataclysmic event or a person who just like rips some part of you open. I know before I used to, of course, like, see all this in people and be like, I'm gonna shake you and make you see it. But it's like, Leila, come on, you don't even see it half the time. Like, until you do whatever it is you do. So it's like, it is just having an understanding, and then you have to, be compassionate for the people along the journey and yourself, because, like, a lot of us, we don't see it until we see it. And we don't know until we know. We can think we know everything and wake up tomorrow and know absolutely nothing again, or,
it's like going down the rabbit hole, isn't it? And just burrowing deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
It's like never ending.
No matter how much you want to see, and no matter how much you would really like to know the destination, you've literally only got the step in front that you can see most of the time.
Every time. It's wild. That's why I don't know, I'm so surrendered to it right now, because, like, I've seen so many, I am the kind of person who's like, I will move to a place, like, on a whim. Like, I have to move here. I have to live here. That's it. I'm going, and I'll make it happen. So it's like, great. I've done that enough times in my life to know that, like, there is no fucking destination, because you just get to that destination to get to the next destination. And, like, as frustrating my whole, like, I finally just, like, for years of doing that, for 12 years of me actively doing this and knowing that's what I was doing, I finally surrendered to the fact that there is no destination. Because I think at one point I wanted so bad, I wanted it to be it. Like, this is it! I got it! I made it! No, not.
I think we want to know. But the reason there's no destination is because you're the journey, and the journey is never ending.
Right.
Even from this life moving past it, the journey is ongoing. You are always ongoing. But I think we want to know. There's a certain sense of safety in knowing, isn't there? And yet sometimes the safety in the knowing is actually very restrictive, and the safety comes from us. It comes from trusting ourselves. It comes from trusting our resilience. It comes from trusting our ability to be resourceful and find the way through, even if we don't quite know how in the moment that the challenge starts to occur. And it's that taking it back to us, and the truth, the power, the wisdom as well that you have in you, the wisdom that rises when you take a moment to listen, when you take a moment to hear it, and when you take a moment to really feel into the body as well.
Right. That's so accurate. And I think that's why it all comes back to trusting yourself, because it's like, we want so badly, like, I can't speak for everyone, but me, I wanted so badly to just harp on a destination or a place so I wouldn't actually have to just know that, like, it's ever changing, and that, like, all I have to do is trust myself and just believe in myself. And it's like, there was something so blocking that, like, completeness of that realization that, like, and I think that's so many times so why we do want to know. We do want to cling to the destination, because we want something. We want something to hold on to, but there is nothing but ourselves. All we have to hold on to is ourselves, and
and
hopefully,
and it is yourself you're holding on to. I put a post on social media a couple of days ago saying soul celebrates change, because soul does celebrate change, because change equals growth, change equals realization, change equals moving into a different potential. It's meaning that you're progressing, that you're doing things differently. And so soul celebrates change, and we need to celebrate the fact that life doesn't stay the same, and that we don't stay the same, and that actually the one constant in life is change itself.
Right. Which is beautiful. I personally get really bored or really easily. Mundanity is not even a word. I think it just means the mundane. Mundanity. I've never used it in that format, but mundane, right? Mundanity. Can anyone fact check? See, this is why I need, like, a little assistant on the side. Like, mundanity. Is that okay? It's okay. But, like, it drives me up a wall. It drives me literally mad. But then there's that other part of myself that's like, but some stability, please, Leila. But
what's your date of birth, Leila, if you don't mind saying?
4/20/93.
4/20/93.
I'm an Aries. I mean, I'm a Taurus, Aries, cusp baby with a whole fuck ton of Aries.
20th of April. Sorry, 20th of April.
1993.
Okay, so from a soul signature perspective, you're an integration signature. And an integration signature is all about evolution. So you are constantly evolving. You are really moving into that need to embrace moving forward, letting go of baggage that keeps you held back. Yeah. So change is that consistency, that constancy that really is very, very present in your life and that you really need to embrace.
Yeah, so, it really is my stability. My stability is change.
Yeah, but once you embrace it, everything else will really start to integrate in life for you, and you'll start to realize different things in a different way. But with an integration signature, you are absolutely encouraged to embrace the fact that you're constantly evolving, that you are never staying the same, and that being present in the moment is your actual greatest stability, because in the moment, everything is always okay. When the mind and the energy is focused in the here, everything is always okay. But you are here to constantly evolve.
It's like, I'm telling you, it's a lot. But
it is a lot. It is a lot. But the life lesson for integration is being present. So the more present you are, the more you are able to see clearly and have clarity about the next step. But constantly evolving.
And I think that's probably why, like, you know, I mean, I like blew up my life in France and was like, Mommy, can I come home? Whatever. You know, I talk about it on this podcast all the time. But like part of that is because like I feel like I just needed to like have a place right now that like I didn't have to worry about like going anywhere, so that I could just like because right now I am literally just like trip, get in the car, go. But it's like, it's just helping me be in the present all the time, because it's like, when I was sitting here and like trying to make plans or like anywhere trying to make plans or like worried about whatever, it's like, I'm not being present. So right now I'm just like, I feel like I just had to plug in my stuff to the wall of my family's house at 30 years old, just so like I could literally just be completely free to just go, do whatever, and just like be completely present in that.
Yeah. And if you do nothing more than be present as consistently as you possibly can, then you will meet your life purpose. It will unfold without you needing to do anything, without you needing to be.
Hallelujah.
So you're on that path. The destination may not be clear yet, but
it never is. That's why I'm just doing nothing too, because like I've had so many businesses in this life, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm done with this now. And I'm like, girl, you are just tired of like I'm tired of starting things and then just like literally ditching them like a few weeks later or months or years later. So that's why I'm like, do nothing right now. Honestly, this podcast is fine. Other than that, I'm like, people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I live. And they're like, and you do that how? And I'm like, please don't ask me. I've been doing it for 30 years. I have no explanation for how this works, but it keeps working. But I cannot answer questions. No paparazzi. No interviews. Like, I got nothing. It just works, and I'm working it. Nothing else to say about that.
But you know, there's a learning in that. There's a learning about trusting the process, being in the moment, and just allowing yourself to really feel into what you need. And trusting that life will unfold for you, because for most of us it does, doesn't it? We have hiccups and we have challenges, but actually, for the most part, life unfolds and we manage in the moment. And if we look back, and if you look back, I'm sure there have been huge hurdles. There have been for me. And in that moment, you never quite know what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And yet we're both sat here. We're both chatting. We've both come through everything that we need to come through.
Which is beautiful. We're so
present
in this moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm interested more about the soul signatures. I do get off on tangents of my own self. So, but like, because you just looked up so it's related to your birthday and your astrology, or just your birthday? How did you come up with this?
And it's purely channeled. I had an experience with soul back in 1995. I'd suffered from depression for a number of years, and I had a moment on my living room floor where I really just couldn't go on, and something lifted within me, and I didn't know at the time what it was, but I just knew I would be okay. And that got me into energy work, and it got me into looking at all sorts of things. So soul has always been something I've been very interested in, and something that I've worked with, but soul signatures were just channeled, so they were given to me. And they essentially are a visual representation of the dynamic energy of soul, and there are 11 of them, and we have all of them within us. But a little bit like an astrology chart, you know, where you have certain planets and at a certain place, and they're more influential for you. You have 4 soul signatures which form your soul signatures profile, and they are more influential for you through the course of your life. than the other signatures. And you can work with them all, you can utilize them all, you will recognize all of them, and you will see the path that you've trod. But your birthday relates to your foundation soul signature, and that never changes. So that is the lesson, the learning, the energy that you've come here to embody. So it's kind of like your karmic node in astrology, I guess.
Yeah, I love this.
But you're here to embody it, you're here to stand in it. And once you embody that, then you meet your leading activation, which is based on your birth name. And that brings that potential into being. Yeah. So they are energetic, but they're a really practical way to understand soul, because I'm totally woo. I've got so much experience energetically, and I've had really weird and wonderful and beautiful experiences, but inherently I'm practical. And I think if we don't understand something, we don't work with it. If we don't understand it and we don't work with it, we don't use it, and it simply becomes a concept. So the more practical and the more day to day, and actually utilize it in life, we can make energy, we can make soul, we can make spirituality. The more it will support us all as individuals, but also collectively.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I love this. I'm like, this is such a cool thing you got channeled. I'm like, where?
It's my baby. It's like most things. I think it takes a lot of the work that I've done. I know I haven't learned. So it takes a lot of trust to really bring that to life, and it gets validated through that process of bringing it to life. But it's a really useful tool to really understand the core soul energy that you're being asked to embody, and the core soul energy within business as well. Because our businesses have an inception point, they have a name, and that influences the natural underlying energy they have within them.
Yeah, I love that, because I mean, people ask me all the time, like, Leila, why should I like astrology? Why should I like tarot? Or why should I like this? And it's like, you don't have to fucking like any of them, but every single one is just a tool for you to help understand more of your own life path. So, I mean, it's like, I got no be all and end all. I like literally every single spiritual tool, throw it at me. I'm here for every single one, like numerology, whatever, astrology, all of it. Soul signatures, cool. Reiki, awesome. Like, runes, fantastic. Whatever, like, literally, just throw out everything at me, and I'm good. Because, like, whatever helps me deepen my bond and my connection to myself, like, I'm here for it.
And different things resonate with different people. Different people get different things from different tools and different modalities. Right. And they're all a learning point to connect you back into your own inner wisdom. And kind of the power and the trust within that, because that's really important.
I agree. And there's so many tools, and some people are like, I resonate with this one, and I've always been like, I resonate with all of them a little bit, but I know what I need at which time. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's like I have a phone, but like, who do I need to call? Like,
who to call?
Like, well, should I call like my energy person, my astrology person? Like, obviously, just listen to myself too, but I'm not a professional. I'm not like, I didn't study. I study everything a little bit, not anything a lot of it. So, but.
I was a couple of years ago, I was faffing around with the phrase, jack of all trades. Mm-hmm. And it was really in the back of my mind, because I had done lots of different things throughout my life professionally, from Reiki, from sound healing to crystals to angels to all sorts of various things. Right. And I kind of thought, Nick, you're sort of a jack of all trades and a master of none. But the saying actually, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but actually the saying, a jack of all trades and master of none, actually says it's better to be competent in lots of things than only having one string to your bow, because one string to your bow actually limits you.
I like that. Then I'm doing a great.
Absolutely.
I know. It's funny. I actually tried to use that phrase like when I started this podcast to like describe me, and my mother was like, "That's a very low vibrational." And I'm like, "Mom, you don't even read energy. Like, shut up." But she's like, and it makes it sound like you just don't know anything. And I'm like, but I don't. But I do.
You do.
But I do.
And that wisdom that I think that comes from within, that you haven't learned, that you haven't kind of learnt from anyone else, that just rises within you, and you don't quite know how you know, but you trust the feeling, you trust the energy that comes with it when it rises. That's the real wisdom. That's the real joy. That's the real presence, power, essence that you bring to the world, that serves not only you, but it serves other people as well.
Exactly. We are here to serve other people at the end of the day. But like that, I mean, I know that's such a hard thing for people to figure out too, because like, I've always known I'm in servitude to not just myself, but the masses. But then, when you first get on the journey, of course, I'm over this at this point in my life, but I feel like people are still there, it's like service to others. So then you like kind of pinpoint specific others, and you're like, I'm going to pour all my energy in this, like, broken little missile. But you learn that's part of the journey too. You gotta learn, like you're just here to serve others, but you can't really do that without serving yourself and filling up your own cup and having actually something not broken, damaged, and living on some karmic loop of your own insecurities and some conscious doubts going to put out in the world.
Totally. It is about serving, but it's about serving from the right place within us, isn't it? And it's kind of that journey. And I used to teach spiritual development, in terms of I used to teach mediumship and trance mediumship. And you could never develop your work with spirit if you don't develop your own spiritual development process. So whatever your own spiritual beliefs are, whatever your own spiritual process is, your personal development runs in tandem with the aspect of spiritual development. You can't separate the two. And I believe that's the same with serving. And often when we're working with people and when we're serving people and when we're supporting clients, there's often a reflection, isn't there, back to us that tells us something about ourselves that we need to be aware of, that we need to learn, that we need to understand or work with at that moment in time.
I know, that beautiful cosmic mirror that's ever showing. I'm like, you showed up today, so I'm like, I'm obviously on a good frequency right now. But yeah, I mean, it truly is. I mean, every single person is a testament to yourself and what you have to learn, and what's going on up there that's a little not great, because that's the thing. Like when you realize you don't like something, you're like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong then? Like, what can I change within myself to not make this type of energy keep showing up? And what am I not wrong? Because I don't want to say it's wrong. It's not like you suck, you failed the test or anything, but it's like, but what am I doing, and what can I tweak within my own energetic field to not get that energy back?
Yeah. What is it showing me? What am I here to learn about myself?
Right, exactly.
What is it mirroring to me, and how do I change that?
Right, which is like the ultimate question. But change, but it's like, it's important to look at that, because I feel like that's something, like, there are people, that are in this field and whatever, I mean, who are making a great living doing that and still coming at me like, Leila, I didn't get it. I didn't get that part. I was like, wait, how'd you miss the most important step? What? I'm like, can I get your clients then? I think I should be getting paid. Oh God. But, it's a very important step. Number one step, I'd say. I don't know.
I think that self-awareness, isn't it, and self-reflection, and looking at the things that trigger us, looking at the things that resonate, looking at the things that don't, and just having the awareness to recognize that actually that may be to do with them, but it's a reflection of something within me that I'm having a reaction with.
Right, exactly.
So therefore I kind of need to look at what that is, because that's something that isn't balanced, or it isn't healed, or it isn't quite where it needs to be within my energy or within my understanding.
Right. And that's what we're here to do. Balance our energies, which is, I'm not going to say that's the easiest thing in the world. It's a journey. It's a journey to yourself, and it's a good one at that. As I grab my labradorite, like I'm going to beat someone with it or something.
That's a very good piece of labradorite, by the way.
It's beautiful, right? No,
it is beautiful, yeah.
I mean, you can't even see the shinies all the way, but labradorite's always been one of my favorites, not to go off on a crystal tangent, but...
Crystal tangents I know all about.
All right. What's your favorite crystal? No, I mean, no, really. Do you have one?
Actually, my favourite crystal is smoky quartz.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the very first crystal that I ever bought just after I trained in crystal therapy. And I went to this Mind, Body and Spirit event in London. And like most things, I wasn't earning lots of money or anything like that. I looked at it, and I think it was about £40 about 20 years ago. So I don't know what it would be now. And I looked at it and I thought, I can't quite do that. I went back the next day. I looked at it again. I thought, I just can't. And I promised myself that if it was still there on the third day, I'd get it. And it was still there on the third day.
It was yours.
It was absolutely mine. So yeah, I have lots of crystals, but I have a couple of personal ones, and that's my real favourite. It's it just totally resonates.
We all have a favorite, I feel. Mine's always in labradorite. Although, like, I don't know. I've worked with crystals a lot of my life and just, like, kind of fell away from that. But they're definitely coming back and speaking to me again. Like, you're supposed to start working with us again. I'm like, okay.
You found that too, because there was about 20 years ago or so, crystals were huge. And then they seemed to wane a little bit. And the last 3, 4, 5 years, there's been a real growing presence, and I've worked a lot more with my crystals, a lot more dynamically over the past couple of years than I probably had in the 3 or 4 years before. So I think they're definitely contributing to whatever change, energy.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, there's huge shifts right now, and like, I think they definitely are. I mean, they're holding the grid or shifting the grid or whatever. I don't know. I just know, like, I had a reading with one of my little lovely psychic rune readers out there. Love Chris. Hi, Chris. We love you. But he was like, Leila, you're going to have to start working with crystals and herbalism a lot again. And I'm like, that makes sense. And I feel that because that was like my first modality when I got into the spiritual realm. It was all, like, I just was given a bunch of crystals and I started making tinctures and herbal medicine. Like, totally don't do, I mean, I can medicate myself when I need to with, like, I know a little bit, but it's not like I'm not sharing my knowledge with the people or anything. And he's like, that's going to come back, crystals. And as I'm clutching my crystals that are like with my little plant over here, I'm like, okay, he's probably right. I don't know what there is to that yet. Like, I'm like I said, I'm not jumping into anything until I actually know what I'm supposed to do with it, but apparently crystals are making me come back.
I think vibrationally they're really helping to stabilize everything.
Right.
And I think there's for me, it just feels as though the vibration of crystals has risen with the vibration of the earth. So even though we are, I don't know how long you've had your piece of labradorite. I've had my piece of smoky quartz for 20 years. But the energy of it is shifting, and they help to rebalance us, and they help to realign us to a purer vibration, a purer frequency of being. And so I really believe that they're supporting us to move through some of the challenges, some of the crap that we have present and around us, and really helping to guide that path in a better way. So there's a real pull towards crystals.
Yeah, I feel that. And this piece is new because I have a thing with, like, I have some of my crystals for, like, since I started getting into crystals, which was about, like, 13, 14 years ago. But my labradorites, no. They don't stay with me. They're not meant to. They never can. They never will. I've had some disappear into portals in, like, the middle of energy healings. I've been, like, around some dark energy, and that shit has just disappeared in the ether. I've regifted them to, like, people suffering. Like, they don't stick with me. It's the one crystal I can't keep. Like, I can't keep my labradorite, so I'm always buying new labradorites.
So I would say that it's not a personal crystal. You're drawn to it, but there must be another crystal that is really yours. Yeah,
maybe, I'm not sure what it is yet.
Maybe you haven't come across it yet, but when you do, you will know it.
No, I'm looking around. I mean, I love citrine. But no, you're right. I haven't figured that one out yet. It's like, this is like my giveaway one. It's like, but it's always been mine. Not mine. You're right. It's not mine. It doesn't stay with me. Nothing stays with me. No,
they don't. Unless it's yours personally, it does its job. It does whatever it needs to do. And then it goes on to work with whoever it needs to work with next. Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of them.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of them. And for me, I think one of the things that crystals helped me to do was to not be attached, so attached to things, because they weren't going to stay with me. So it was like, okay, it's here. I'm grateful for it. It's part of my life in this moment, in this period in time, but then it's going. So they really help. And I think they do support with that aspect of non-attachment.
Which is very important because everything is so impermanent. And it's like, it's one of those other things. You want to hold on to ideology, you want to hold on to people, you want to hold on to things because it gives you some sense of like stability that's not even real, false security, false sense of just like everything else we talked about. But, you know, and nothing is impermanent. Nothing's permanent. This is all impermanent. And like, but I love my creature comforts. Like I collect vintage clothes. Like I'm fucking more attached to my clothes than I am people because I am so conditioned to people leaving, and I'm okay with that. But I'm honestly okay if I lose my clothes. But I'd way rather, like, I'm way easier to deal with losing friends and stuff, which is sad. But it's like.
Yeah, but people change, don't they? We change, and the people that we think are going to move with us and come with us, sometimes that doesn't always happen. So, and I think particularly when you're walking a spiritual path, I do think there's that aspect of there are always times when you are just on that journey on your own.
Oh yeah. And you know, like people come in and out, and like I do have friends that have been my friends for years, but we'll go through shifts of not talking and in and out. But then I always notice, like, if my energy shifts dramatically, I can almost expect to look at my phone and have like 3 people in my life literally be like, "Fuck you," for no reason, no explanation. I'm like, you know what? I wasn't really vibing with where our friendship or whatever was going anyway. So thank you. You just made my life so much easier. Like, I'm not sad. I don't know what your issue is, unless it's like something that's actually an issue, but usually it's just like, you know, a few people who are kind of like on the outskirts of my life, like maybe like, it's usually like a consider collaboration, like that we're like maybe talking about collaborating on some business project, and then my energy will shift and they will just like literally crumble themselves out of my life, and I'm like, awesome.
It's funny how it works like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, see you later. No, I'm not sad. I'm always relieved. I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much. But yeah, impermanence. People don't. But like, okay, so I drive Uber sometimes, you know, money, whatever. And today I had this lady in my car, and her husband has dementia, and she's like telling me all these stories, and she's like, I should have put him in the home years ago. I've been taking care of him for years, and like this emotional burden, and how she like feels like she lost all of her life taking care of someone who doesn't even remember who she is. And that's just like, and I was like, I would never, and I told her, I was like, I can't ever imagine having that kind of sick dedication to someone where if they were like this quote unquote love, but you're telling me you don't love him anymore. You're just like doing it out of servitude, you know, and it's like, that's kind of why I believe in releasing people like in the capacity and being okay with it, because it's like, I never want to be the person who's just like in servitude to someone that just like doesn't align with my values to serve them anymore.
I guess it's different, isn't it, when that person is fully aware and fully cognizant and you can have that discussion. Mm-hmm. I guess it's slightly different if somebody has dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that and is not actually aware of it's not aware of the relationship. I guess that's something different.
I know, it was just like, it made me think a lot. I was like, this is just like, it really, I was like sitting there like having philosophical discussions with myself after that, because I was like, wow, I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know how I would feel in this situation. Like, I'm just thinking about dedication and loyalty and all this stuff now, and I'm like, love and what that means to other people, and I'm like, I don't know, that was just a profound encounter though.
Absolutely.
I still don't really know how I feel about it, but
well, it may, you know, and maybe you won't. Maybe it'll be something that comes back in 10 or 15 or 20 years.
Yeah, maybe. No, great. Now I'm going to call in a partner with fucking dementia. I have to go take care of someone.
But makes you think about relationships in a certain way at that moment in time.
Yeah, it does. And I don't know. That's like little to nothing sticks with me from the day when I'm interacting with people. That stuck. I was like, oh.
And it may simply also be that the lady who was speaking to you just needed to share. And
I feel like for sure she just needed an outlet to listen.
And your energy was just present and available and on some level receptive.
Yeah, I like to be that person. You can always call me up and dump all your problems on me because I won't take them. So
But that's great boundaries, and that's great emotional boundaries. And I think sometimes we don't have that level of emotional boundary within us. So to have that level of emotional boundary where you can listen, you can hear, and sometimes things don't need to be said, but it's just being present and hearing the other person, but then not taking it on board, that is a great skill.
That's an amazing, I'm 30. It took me all 30 years of my life to get that one down, but I'm pretty confident on it now.
Yeah, it's a great skill to have.
I feel like we all need that, especially anyone who's empathetic or anyone who is a healer, or anyone who does any sort of modality where they're going to help anybody in the world. Even, not even just in the spiritual realm, if you are helping, like my mom's a teacher, for example, like, anyone who is in servitude of you got boundaries up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boundaries up, but don't cut it off completely. Still be receptive.
It's boundaries, it's looking after your own energy, and it's looking after your own emotions and having a sense of emotional mastery as well, isn't it? So that you know what is yours, you know what is not yours, and you're able to come back to that place within yourself that you need to be in.
Right, and being able, navigate through that, because, I'm just glad I'm not in that space, because comic-ing, especially, it is interesting when you meet up with people you haven't seen in a long time, because you're like, last time I saw you, I was there too, and it's like, thanks for reminding me I'm not, and I don't want to carry that stuff, because it's a burden. We don't need any more burdens.
No, we don't, and just managing who we are and finding a way to manage it in a way that aligns with us, I think is part of the lesson, part of the journey, part of what we're here to learn as well, and to bring that sense of mastery to ourselves.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Well, that was like a really good end point of this.
Actually, it was, wasn't it? It just kind of, but it's surprising how quickly time passes.
I know, but that just kind of summed up everything in that last element.
Yeah, but it is that element of mastery. If there's one thing, it's that mastery of who we are, I believe. Yeah.
And that's really all we're trying to do, and we're not perfect, and we're going to fumble, we're going to drop the ball, we're going to fall down, we're going to pick ourselves back up, but we just got to have compassion for ourselves, not be hard on ourselves, and keep trying to connect to people like you or me or what, find your tribe, vibe with your tribe.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up.
No, and
we're all on our journey. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, and know that you are the journey, and that it's okay not to feel it in the moment. But
I actually wrote that down. I was like, I like you are the journey, because I feel that, but I like just the affirmation itself. You are the journey. It's a powerful one.
Yeah.
You are the journey. So yeah, if anyone wants to work with you and stuff, how do we do that?
They can find me on Instagram or Facebook at Nicola Tonsager. And my website is nicolatonsager.co.uk.
Oh, you're easy. Okay, so many people with their names, they're they have a name, and then they have a pseudonym, and then they have a website name, and then they have.
It's fine.
No, I'm changing everything to Leila. My show is the Leila Show. I'm I publish poetry sometimes. I'm just gonna call the books Leila. Leilisms, volume 1 to 55. I don't give a shit. Just names. Yeah. Easy. Good.
Straightforward, simple, easy.
Straight to the point.
Don't complicate anything that doesn't need to be complicated.
No, just use your name. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I'll share all your stuff to Instagram, and
thank you so much for inviting me.
But yeah, thank you for coming and sharing my container.
You're most welcome. It's been a joy to spend some time with you.
Yeah, you too. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I hope we stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
The Leila Show.